And I'll tell you this too, man, because as women make more and more money and become more and more successful, there's a consequence to that, unfortunately. And that is your pool of suitable candidates is going to shrink, because the reason why Tommy Lahren went on that big rant as a multi-millionaire successful woman, as a successful woman that's worth, $2-3 million, her pool of candidates is really small. And here's the problem that successful women don't understand. The guys that you're chasing, that you want, that satisfy your hypergamous needs, those guys can date down. You can't, though. So they're basically playing a skewed game that's in the male's favor when it comes to high value. And like those guys will bang you. They'll deal with you on a romantic sense temporarily, but they're not really going to commit to you. You know what I mean? Because when a guy works so hard and actually it gets to a point where he's able to select women, I'm kind of like at this point right now in my life. There's no way that you're going to settle down, because it took so much to get to that point that you're not going to sit. I always use this analogy. So there's a candy store, right? Girls are allowed to come in as soon as they turn 18, and they're able to pick as much candy as they want. They can stay there, get as much candy as they want. The boys, however, can't get in until they're about 30 years old, and they have a certain amount of money saved up to get in the candy store. So by the time you get into the candy store 12, 15 years later, and the chicks have already been there since 18, you're going to go crazy. Oh my God, I need all this candy. And the chicks are going to look at you like, oh, what's wrong with you? It's just candy. But the women don't understand that you waited out there for a decade plus to get in this candy store while they were already in with their one little lollipop. You're over here taking all the chocolate, everything, because it took a while and you had to earn getting in the candy store. So when you do get in there, there's no way you're going to subject yourself to just one piece of candy. You're going to go nuts. And women don't understand that, because women fundamentally do not understand the plight of men. And going back to application, when I'm on dates, just to collect data so I can share with you, Rollo, I love to ask women, what percentage of men do you think are sexually active? What percentage of men do you think actually are out here meeting women? You know what all these girls tell me, man? 80%, 90%, 100%, etc. And it goes to show, like, and then I'll tell them, well, do you know that maybe 10 to 20% of guys are actually sexually active? And they're like, what? And they're like, they can't believe it. And then I'm like, well, think of every time a guy approached you in a club and failed miserably and he was strange about it. It's like, okay, you know what? Now it makes sense. But the solipsism doesn't allow them to understand that men truly have to be made, and it takes us much longer to get to where we want to go. But they think we're on the same mating schedule that they're on, where we should be trying to settle down at 30. And it doesn't work that way, because for a man to be attractive, it takes us so long to get to that point. So by the time we're 35 now, we're the 18-year-old, we're in the candy store, we want to go nuts just like they did when they got in. So it's just very interesting to see that how women truly do not understand the plight of men, man, at all, like whatsoever.
And you're probably aware of my infamous market value peak years graph by now. I did that graph as kind of like a joke at one point, because I kept seeing all of these infographics, and so I put that out there. And really, what it is in a nutshell, it's women hit their sexual market value peak right around 23, and men hit their sexual market value peak right around, if they live up to their potential, they hit their peak right around 35, 36, somewhere in there. I've seen the Huffington Post of all places say that men hit their sexual peak at 50, or sexual market value peak at 50, which I think is completely overblown. And then a lot of guys will say, no way, man, when I was 25, I was in much better shape and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, well, that's only one aspect of what makes you valuable to women, because women's their sexual strategy, their mating strategy is different from men. As I said, men's is unlimited access to unlimited sexuality. For women, it's hypergamy. It's, I want the hottest guy who's the funnest to have sex with and is the best sexual experience for short-term sex breeding perspective, and then also the long-term, who's the best investment for my long-term security guy. So those are the two. Like, women tend to be interested in quality. They are what biology and mating strategy, they would be called K-selected. Men are R-selected.
Yes.
Our sexual strategy, our innate strategy is R-selection. Breed a lot. Bang as much as you can. Our biology actually, like, what is it? John talks about this all the time. Ejaculate and evacuate. We laugh at that, but that's a result of men's innate mating strategy. It's in our biological evolutionary advantage that we have a lot of sex. That's why we have a higher libido. That's why testosterone makes us aggressive. That's why we, when you're a young man and when you're like in your teens and the wind blows and you get a hard on, that's why, because that's what you evolved to do. And that's why guys have trouble with right now because it's so widely available. For women, it's quality. It's looking for the K selection. It's looking for the best of the best. Is he the best I can do? And so when women are at their peak, which is at right around 23, they have the potential to have the most of the things, the most of the aspects that make them the most desirable to men of any age. When you look at the, I don't know if you've looked at the data from Dataclysm. There's a really great book called Dataclysm. It was stats that have, and they're probably even newer, fresher stats now, but from, was it Match.com or from the Tinder profiles and things like that, that men tend to prefer the look of, or the, you know, the appearance they find the most attractive. The age they find women most attractive is 23. It doesn't change. From 15 to 90, men find 23-year-old girls they're most attractive.
And here's the thing, men have not changed really, Rollo. It's funny because like women always talk about men this, men that. Men haven't changed. We've always looked for the same things in women. We've always wanted a woman that's like submissive, attractive, young, fertile, etc. What's really changed is women have changed, because the thing is that women are basically the buyers in the sexual marketplace. So as they've become more and more successful, they've gotten more and more access to more men, and they've made more and more money. They're incapable of dating down. So what's happened? Their metrics of what an attractive mate is have changed. The days, I always say it all the time, the days of making, you know, $30,000 a year and driving your Kia Sophia with a good insurance policy, that's not good enough anymore for a lot of women, because women make their own money. So just like you say, the beta is handled. So what's left? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that